Welcome to our third grade presentation from Sea to Shining Sea. During the program, using narration, songs, and quotes, we will be telling you some of the main events in United States history and what was happening in our community, Temecula at the same time. To begin our program, we will sing America the Beautiful.
Scientists believe that the Native Americans in the North and South America came from Asia.
Long ago, there was a way to get to the Americas over a land bridge over what is now called the Bering Strait. They believe the natives crossed the land bridge in search of food. Groups of people settled in different places such as valleys, plains, deserts, and forests. Each group has to learn to meet their needs for food, shelter, and clothing in different ways. This ability to change according to one's environment is called adaptation. The Native Americans who settled in Temecula were hunters and gatherers. They collected acorns and made a mush called rewish.
Hunting made up only a small part of their diet. They wore little or no clothes. When they did wear clothes, it was protection from the cold.
The Native Americans who lived in this area had three types of shelters. They built from the natural resources found here. The shelters were the kish, the remote, and the pit house. They were a religious people who believed in one God. They believed he would reward them if they were good and punish them if they were bad. If they were really bad, he might send an earthquake or years of no rain. Many people wonder how Temecula got its name. One legend is that an Indian chief Nahaga stood on a hill looking down at our valley. He named it Temecula, which means sun shining through the mist. In 1620, the Pilgrims arrived from England. They came to the New World because they wanted religious freedom. After a while, the colonists who had come seeking freedom of worship no longer wanted to be a part of England. They didn't like the king's laws or his manner of enforcing them. They fought back when the king sent soldiers trying to make them obey. This was the beginning of the Revolutionary War. Here is a voice from the past explaining some of the feelings of the time.
I am Thomas Jefferson. I wrote these famous words in the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. America won its independence from England. The new country continued to grow. People with many different beliefs and backgrounds came to America.
In 1797, Juan Norberto de Santiago came to this valley looking for a site on which to build a mission outpost for San Juan Capistrano. He was the first European to see this valley. He did not build a mission here. Later, Father Peyrat from San Luis Rey Mission met the Native Americans living here. The Native Americans became Mission Indians and their way of life was changed forever.
Things changed again for the Native Americans in Temecula. Just as the colonists wanted to be rid of the English rule, Mexico wanted to be free of Spanish rule.
In 1821, Mexico won her independence from Spain.
Pio Pico, the last Mexican governor of California, claimed ownership of the Mission lands in the Temecula Valley. He and several others divided up, sold, or gave away the lands to individual Mexicans. They did this so the Mexicans could hold to the United States of America if they went to war over the lands, and Mexico lost.
The Native Americans who became Mission Indians no longer had a place to live. Mexicans and the Americans were dividing up the west, the eastern part of the country continued to grow. Daniel Boone began the Wilderness Road, allowed the settlers to cross the Appalachian Mountains to settle in Kentucky. searching for more land or new experience, Americans built immigrant trails along which people traveled from one area to another. The Southern Immigrant Trail was a route that passed through Temecula, then went north to Los Angeles and San Francisco. Baseball has been providing us with fun and excitement for more than 100 years. Even though the game has gone through many changes in rules and equipment, the first game of baseball as we know it today was played in Hoboken, New Jersey in 1846. The New York Nine beat the New York Knickerbockers that day, 23-1. In 1848, gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill in Northern California. As you might expect, many people began coming to California in search of their fortune. They were called the 49ers. Eureka! There's gold in them there hills!
The very next year, California became the 31st state and Temecula became part of Riverside County. The Butterfield Overland Stagecoach coming west from St. Louis, Missouri stopped in Temecula. It only operated for a few years because the great battles of the Civil War interfered with its route.
One of the reasons the Civil War was fought was because most southern states wanted to be able to own slaves and most northern states wanted to be able to outlaw slavery. With the help of many brave people like Harriet Tubman, slaves from the south ran away to the north where they knew they could be free. Here are a few words from Harriet Tubman. I am Harriet Tubman. I was born a slave. When I was 29 years old, I ran away to Philadelphia because Pennsylvania was a free state. Over the next 10 years, I helped more than 300 slaves escape to freedom, including my own family.
These early slaves traveled on the Underground Railroad, which wasn't a railroad at all, but a network of safe houses and hiding places for escaping slaves.
The North Star was our guide on this dangerous trip. The constellation Little Dipper, which we called the Drinking Gourd, pointed to the North Star, our guide to freedom.
The Civil War between the northern and southern states lasted 4 years. The North won and all states became free of slavery.
During the war, Abraham Lincoln was president. Here are some of his words. I am Abraham Lincoln. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free. This nation, under God, shall have a new birth and with freedom. The government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The Civil War is especially sad because it divided families and neighbors. Fathers fought sons and brothers fought brothers. Can you picture the woman and children? Can you picture the women and children watching the road to see if their father, son, or brother would ever come home again? 600,000 men died during the Civil War. Through 1982 was a quiet time in Temecula. There was a little grove, however.
Louis Wolfe opened this door by what is now Shell Station on Margarita Avenue. He also became postmaster.
The Temecula School District was formed, and the ever-busy Louis Wolfe became the district's first clerk.
A very sad thing happened to the Temecula Native Americans. Due to a legal problem, they were forced to leave their land and go to the hills south of the Temecula River.
This land later became the Pajanga Indian Reservation. As an old-timer said, they just dumped them there. They just dumped them.
The period following the Civil War, called the Reconstruction, was very painful for the people of the South. They were forced to rejoin the Union of the United States of America.
It was a painful time for the Native Americans as well. Many were being forced off the land and onto reservations, just as there in Temecula.
In 1863, work was started on the railroad, which was stretched from Nebraska to California. The Transcontinental Railroad workforces met in Utah.
A golden spike on the trails. By 1882, 11,500 miles of the track has been built in the USA.
Temecula also had its share of railroad track. Using large Chinese crews, the California Southern Railroad completed its line from National City through Temecula through the treacherous granite wall of Temecula.
Away. was established in Utah?
One of the first buildings, the Welty Hotel, was built to house those who worked on the railroad.
It burned down in 1891 but was rebuilt to look the way you see it today.
The post office moved from the old Wolfsburg to the Machado store on Main Street.
After winning some land in the Temecula raffle, Philip Pullman found the Temecula Mercantile on Main Street.
In 1882 through 1891, there was a growth period in Temecula.
In fact, because of improved transportation, many people moved west to settle and begin communities like Temecula.
The U.S. government created the Homestead Act, for which if a person could prove they could survive in a house, they were given 160 acres for free. In 1904, Walter Vail and his family bought 85,500 acres. Most of the Temecula Valley and the surrounding land became one of the last great cattle ranches in California.
Washington in the War of 1812.
He was so thrilled to see the flag still flying after the night of the shelling, he wrote down his feelings in a poem.
In 1931, some of his words were put into and chosen to be our national anthem. Please stand and join us in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
The world was not.
From the 1940s to the 1970s, the United States was involved for 4 major wars. In 1918, we fought in World War I. From 1941 to 1945, we were in World War II. And from 1953 to 1957.
Okay, go ahead.
8.
It's okay, go ahead.
From 1950 to 1953, we fought in the Korean War. And from 1964 to 1972, we fought in the Vietnam War. The U.S. had a major depression in the 1930s.
In the 1940s, a severe drought in the Midwest turned the area into a giant dust bowl.
Woody Guthrie, a folk singer and writer, wrote this song during a time when many people were losing their home because they were too poor to make their payments any longer.
This land was made
In 1964, Vail Ranch was sold to the Kaiser Aetna Corporation. Developers renamed the land Rancho California.
From the 60s to the present, there have been many great changes that made our country a better place for all of its citizens. Women and men of all races can vote and participate in our democracy.
Here are some voices from the recent past that ask us to remember that we are a united nation despite all of our differences.
I'm John F. Kennedy. Don't ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
I am Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We love learning about Temecula and the history of our country. We had fun sharing with you and hope you enjoyed our program. Thank you for coming. If you would like to take your child home early, please look for your child's teacher and sign out